Oh, okay.
Yeah. The other, so you've got to be willing to do everything I'm going to talk about for it to work. You can't just do one piece of this. So there are two things you need to have. There are three things you're going to need to do to have in place before you decide you're going to do a 10-day blitz. The first thing you need to have is the commitment to do everything I'm going to tell you to do. The second thing you need to have is a seller who is committed to you to do everything I'm telling you the seller is going to need to do. So they need to be on board. And the third thing you need is a property that is worthy, I'm going to use that word, of this. This is not a property that's a flipper property. We found that we struggle with it to really do the 10-day blitz the way we want to do it. So with that being said, those are the three things you're going to need to do this. So here's the process. The first thing we want to do is, A, I'm assuming that you're willing to do the work. What do we need to do? It starts at the listing presentation when we explain what to do. And if you were to take the 10 days, we literally have the listing for about a month before we sell it. And we have 2 to 3 weeks of prep time, and then it sells in 10 days if we do it correctly. Now, you're going to have to be accurate on your CMAs. If your CMAs are off, you're going to, this is where your seller has to get on board with this. So the first part of the process is, A, you need to have a property that a seller is willing, if there's work that needs to be done, staging that needs to be done. We have it listed. Now, anything that I'm talking to you today is after the listing agreement is signed. So this is not, we tell them we have a process, we don't detail the process for them. We show them our results and we tell them we have a process and we have testimonials towards that process. They sign the listing agreement. Once they sign the listing agreement, guess what's not on the listing agreement when they sign it?
The amount.
The price.
Okay.
Because we price the property together. And we sit down with them and we go through it. And I'm going to tell you about one of the successful experiences we had. So this house was in a community in Boca where the highest price sold was $475,000. That house was totally redone, the new modern style with the glass tile in the kitchen, dark cabinets, light counters. Do you know what style I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it looked gorgeous. This house that we were comparing was a similar model, similar style. As one agent said it, I'm calling regarding your Trump-esque listing. It had gold. It had white cabinets with gold piping around it. It had gilded, everything was gilded gold. The mirrors were gilded gold. So he asked me, what do you think? So we began to, now the house was in good condition. It was a beautiful home. But if you didn't like the Trump-esque look, what's the French, is it Louis the...
Yeah. Louis the 14th.
Louis the 14th
yeah.
style? If you didn't like that, you would go through the house and say, got to take off for that, got to redo that, got to repaint that. And so what price would you put on the house? So for this to work, the seller has to be willing to do two things. Number one, the seller has to be on board when it comes to pricing. You have to price aggressively. You have to understand, and in your listing presentation, you have to share with them and explain to them and walk them through. When we do our market update, I do basically my financial part of my listing presentation. You've got to show them that there's enough fish in the sea and that there's a school of fish in their price range waiting for their house. The second thing is they've got to be willing to fix things that need to be fixed. So we didn't ask him to repaint his house or redecorate his house, but we understood that things needed to be done with the home. And it starts at the curb. Now there's some things that we've learned. Don't take aerials if you're not going to mulch the yard. It makes all the difference in the world. Don't use a photographer that can't put blue sky in. because blue sky makes the house pop, and it can't look like fake blue sky. It has to look like blue sky. Little things like that we found really work. So now we had a seller who was willing. So we sat there and he said, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, it's a house that not many people, you either love it or you hate it. And my guess is most people aren't going to love it. Therefore, what number would you put on it?" Well, I said I wouldn't put $475 on it because $475 was brand new and it's the highest price in the community. So it has to be less than $475. I said, so let's talk about that. We talked about, well, we agreed that we wanted to price aggressively and that we agreed it was $450. So my thought was $450, and if we get multiple offers and we go above $450, we're doing great, right? Would that be normal? Yes? I mean, would you think that that would be fair? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because if you guys don't respond to me, we're going to stand up and clap.
They would have been up twice already, Andrew, by now. I'm just letting you know, all right?
So if you don't want to stand up and clap, respond, okay? Right?
Right.
Okay, there we
Clap
go.
once, clap once.
Clap once if you're with me.
And Matt's a half a beat
Let's try this
behind.
again. Clap once if you're with me. All right,
There we
you're
go.
with me. So we decided $450 would be it, and if we, in my mind, I'm thinking if we can sell this for $460, $465, we'd be doing our job because it still was not as nice as that one that sold for $475. So we listed the house, we signed the paperwork, we walked the house and told him what he needed to do. Now Carolyn is really good at this part, and I basically turned this portion over to her because she's better at it than I am. She sees the little imperfections, her decorating taste she sees, and so she's more gifted at that, but she'll walk through and say, you need to remove this piece, you need to take down those pictures. We had one listing, they had a wall, it was a 2-story house, and they had one of those 2-story walls, and it was one whole wall of collages of their family and their children. And we said, and oh, by the way, the whole wall was faux painted. So when they took down the pictures and they took out the nails, you could see where everything was. So now they had to patch the nail holes in faux. Well, they got somebody to do it. It made the house, it just opened up the whole house. So Carolyn walks the sellers through it and says, here's what you need to do. So it's, and if we haven't really needed to stage it professionally, but if you need to bring in a professional stager, don't be afraid to do that. Now, understand, you're going to sell the house in 10 days. If you do this and you do it right, it will sell in 10 days. It's awesome. So now we've walked the seller through. He's agreed to the price, and in this case, the price was $450. We walked the sellers through, and he's now committing to get this house as perfect as he can get it. Well, we had an awesome seller, and every day he was at the house, and for 2.5 weeks, he was, anything that needed to be fixed, he fixed. In fact, this particular example that I'm giving you, he had an issue with the pool. And do we redo the pool? Well, we decided not to redo the pool, but to at least fix the pool pump. So he fixed the pool pump, and we got the pool, it was green when we walked in. So we now fixed the house up, and so that's the first step. The second step is we needed to get the market ready that we were coming on board. This home was going to come on the market. So what did we do? The first thing we did a coming soon postcard to the community. Because 9 times out of 10, who's going to move in? Somebody who is in the same socioeconomic level. Well, we know that people are the average of their 5 closest friends, and so if we get the people who are there who love the community to know that it's coming. Now, the one thing you don't do is we didn't take a picture of the front of the house. We took a picture of the view, or you take a picture of something special inside the house. It's just a nondescript picture. However, it's a picture of the house. Full disclosure, the first time we did the postcard, the picture came out dark and deformed. But it didn't matter, it worked. So now, would we do that again? No. So be careful to do a good picture to make most effective, but sometimes it's just getting the postcard out there is the message. Don't get so wrapped up.
This is pre-marketing, like you said 2 or 3 weeks before.
So now we've listed the property.
Okay.
The next day, we're walking the house. We've priced it. Now we're walking the house with him, and we're telling him all the things he needs to do. Now we know this is going to happen 2 or 3 weeks from now, so we're telling people this is coming soon. So now we go and we produce a postcard, It takes a few days to get this done, and then you get it in the mail, and it's a postcard coming soon, and that's in a picture of the house, and that's pretty much it.
So you listed the property, but you didn't put it on the MLS, correct?
No, because we have in our listing agreement and in our,
Right, okay.
the seller says, don't put on the MLS until such and such a date. You want to make sure that all your paperwork is in line, and we have paperwork for all of this to help you.
And why didn't you take a picture of the front door of the house?
We just don't want people to know which house it is.
Oh, okay, that's what I
We're
thought.
what we want to do is we want to pique their interest. So the first thing that goes out that week is there's a postcard that goes out to the community saying, coming soon, we have a new listing coming, and we may say it's 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and that's about it. You may even give them the price range, but it's coming soon. In fact, some communities, this community couldn't put a sign. In some communities, you can actually put a sign up a few days before with a coming soon on it. Well, here's something that we didn't know at the time, but here's what, so we would actually gotten more juice out of our pre-marketing. But if you use the Keller Williams listing system, you can actually put it coming soon, which gets syndicated through the internet without being on the MLS. And you can put a coming soon tag on it, and it can get syndicated to Zillow and all these other sites that we syndicate to. And there's a way to do that.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually will help you to market your listings faster with maximum syndication through the internet.
Who knows how to do that?
I do, but that's not this class.
So you're just saying the coming soon tag would be on the photo or in the?
So you can do it on the photo. So I'm not, how you do it is up to you, but just know that there's a way to do that, and we can talk about that later. What today is, for the hour that we're here together, is just to show you the stages, and then we can fine tune some of the things on the how-to later. So now we've developed our coming soon marketing, and we've sent out the postcards. Our seller is still cleaning up the house during this whole time, and we may be revisiting the house to say, hey, you missed a spot. We just want to make sure that things are spruced up. If the house needs to, if portions need to be repainted, we've not gone to this degree, but if we have some contractors that are willing to wait on getting paid, and if you have everybody that believes in whatever needs to be done, that they can either get a partial payment up front and wait to get paid. There's some creative things you can do to improve the house to make sure. You just want to make the house shine the best way you can. Imagine you have a car. Who has bought or looked at a used car that's been at the dealership? Don't they look like brand new?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing to this house. Is you're spit polishing it, you're detailing it, you want to make it look as new as possible, and that's what the owner is doing. You're going back and checking to make sure that this gets done, but in the meantime, you've now sent out a postcard. Well, guess what the next thing is you're going to do? What we do now is we have social media advertising, and we boost that. And we do it on demographics, depending on where it is. And we boost that social media for 2 weeks coming soon with that picture of the nondescript thing, but they know what community it's in, so they know what area it's in. So if they're looking for a certain school district and they know if they need 4 bedrooms, those are probably the big 2 things that we're trying to promote. But now it's going through, we're boosting a social media campaign. Then the last thing we do is we door knock in the neighborhood. Because now we know when we're going to have open houses. We're going to have 3 open houses, and we're going to start our first open house on a Saturday. And we now are door knocking the community to say, hey, this coming Saturday, this house is going to be open. And we're going to have open, or this Sunday, whatever day it is. In fact, this particular house was on a Sunday. It's going to be open from 12 to 4. Welcome for you to come by, to have your friends come by. And so we door knock the community the week before the open house. We put it on the MLS on Thursday. What day?
Thursday.
Did I say Wednesday?
No.
Did I say Friday?
No.
Did I say Saturday morning?
No.
Oh, forgot to do it. Let's get it on there because we have an open house on Sunday. I promised them, so let's get it on there. Stop. Wait a week. When do you put it on?
Thursday.
Thursday morning it goes on. And what do you have? Now, do realtors read?
No.
The correct answer is no.
No.
They don't. But you're going to write this anyway. You're going to let them know that the house will be available, open house on such and such a date, and that offers, the owner will be reviewing all the offers on, and don't pick a date more than 10 days out, because 10 days is a long time. You can do it, but here's what we look for. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the following week. So by time the following Monday, it's 10 days. So just say offers need to be in by Sunday at 5 o'clock. Owner will be reviewing the offers on Monday and give the date. Here's where you want to be careful. You want to set the stage, because now this is your integrity and the owner. Now the owner ultimately makes the call, but now we're telling the realtors out there in the broker comments, this is the broker only comments that we do this. Here's our plan. We're going to be reviewing offers a week from Monday. We're going to be sitting with the owner, so get your offers in Sunday night. If an offer comes in Monday morning, are you going to present the offer? What's the answer? The correct answer is yes.
Yes.
If it comes in the minute before you're presenting the offer to the seller, are you going to, if it comes in while you're presenting the offer to the seller, are you going to present the offer?
Yes.
Yes.
We present any and all offers. The only time, and depending on what the listing agreement says, if the seller says do not present any offers after I have a signed executed contract, is the only time we do not. Unless it's instructed in writing, we are presenting any and all offers. However, you want them to get it in so you can organize them before the time comes, where you have to, because you want to professionally present to the seller. Because what if you get more than one offer? Don't you want to be able to articulate what the offers are and tell him what the differences are? So if you have Monday at 5 o'clock and you're meeting with him at 5 o'clock, are you going to be able to effectively do that?
No.
No. So, you agree?
Agreed.
Clap once if you're with me. Oh, Mark, they're not with me, Mark.
Yeah, need to do it again.
Clap once if you're with me. All right. So, that's the plan. Now, if you're going to run the plan 100%, you're going to do 3 open houses. Full disclosure, we have not run it that legalistically. We've done the 3 open houses, but we've actually shown the property in between also. But the 10-day blitz, actually, you tell the people you have 3 opportunities to see the house. Sunday, Wednesday night, Sunday.
Oh, I see.
And you're giving them, and what you're telling the seller is you're going to give me your house for 4 hours on this Sunday, 4 hours on that Sunday, and 3 hours on Wednesday night. You're going to be able to have the house the rest of the week. What's more awesome than knowing that nobody's going to come into your house today? What's the worst thing? They're in the driveway and they want to come into your house. Can they show it? What do you think the owner, what stress level do you think they're at? And they have 3 kids and they're all under the age of 5 and there's,
Toys
baby
everywhere.
food everywhere and toys everywhere, and isn't that just such a high stressor? So we want to, if we were to do this in the perfect world, now if somebody was to call me and say, hey, I have a buyer who's relocating to the area, they're only here for 2 days, today's the only day they can do it, they've been looking in this area, am I going to run over there and open up the house for them? Yes. This particular home that we're telling you about, it was wasn't quite vacant, but the sellers had another property that they were staying in, so it was on a lockbox, and we allowed them to show it in the week. I don't think that would have made a difference, and you'll hear why when I finish the story. So now it's out there on Thursday, and if you price it right, what's going to happen Thursday afternoon? What's going to happen Thursday by lunchtime?
Lots of phone calls.
You're going to get calls.
Yeah.
So now in your listing appointment, if you have not shown the market effectively, let me rephrase it. If you have shown the market effectively and the sellers agreed to price aggressively, if you don't get calls the minute you have this thing listed, if your phone doesn't light up because you're on showing time, it's your first clue, Houston, we may have a problem.
You mispriced it.
It priced a little too high. So it has to be priced aggressively. So now we've gone on the market when? We put on the MLS what day?
Thursday morning.
Thursday. Awesome, good job. We put on the market on Thursday, and now Sunday comes for the open houses. How many open house signs do you put out there?
Oh, like
60.
That's a great number. We put somewhere between 10 and 20. 10 to 20 open house signs. I recommend using, and this is what we do, our open house signs mirror our panels, our listing panels. So it's an opportunity to advertise yourself and your team. If you have a team or your business, it's an opportunity for you to advertise in the same way you would do your real estate panel. You want to have your open house panel with an arrow. Now, it's not the same material. It's the corrugated plastic, the typical open house stuff. We get it from Oakley Signs. Shout out to Oakley. And they've designed it for us. They designed our panels. So if you look at our open house signs, it looks just like our panels. Now that we have 20 open house signs out there, what are we doing simultaneously in promoting the open house?
You're also promoting
Door knocking.
yourself.
You're promoting your business. Because people will come by and they'll say, hey, I see your signs everywhere. Well, guess what? It's the only listing we have in the area, but I'm all for it. I literally had somebody said they saw my ad on TV. That's awesome. I didn't know I was on TV. They won't know where they saw your name, but they'll know they saw your name, and it's part of that reinforcement, that mental reinforcement. So we use 20 open house signs. And we understand that we may not get all 20 signs back. It is a cost of doing business. Right, Tracy?
Right.
Because you're not nodding in the back.
Yeah, they take
So here was a couple of things that were unique to this property. This property was around the corner from a Catholic church. And if it's around the corner from a house of worship, you may want to find when the house of worship lets out. Because what do people do on a Sunday when the house of worship lets out?
drive around the neighborhood.
They drive around the neighborhood. So we had our 20 signs. We did our Facebook. We did our postcard. We did our social media boosting. We did it on a Thursday. Oh, by the way, did we use our iPhone for pictures? I forgot about this.
Professional
No.
pictures.
No, we did professional pictures. Do not use your iPhone. And unless you know how to take professional pictures, I suggest you pay the $150 or $200 to get somebody to do it. Because even though I have one of those cameras, I can't take a picture like they can take a picture. And not only do they take a picture, they take it back and they fix the lighting so it looks good. You do not want to misrepresent the property. Okay, so if they have power lines in the back, don't tell them to Photoshop the power lines out of the back, for example.
Do you
Yes.
like high-def pictures or regular?
High-def pictures are for print, low-definition pictures are for the internet and for the web. So it's all the same pictures, it's just the detail, the size of the file. So now we have professional pictures, it's now on the internet, it's gone out there for 3 or 4 days, and now it's time for the open house. So what do? Do you show up at 12 o'clock for the open house? No. Your signs are put out, and so from about 11:15, 11:30, we start putting our signs out. Because we want to get back to the house before 12, because what happens at 12 o'clock?
They're
Doors
there.
are open. So, have you ever been to the bank at 9? You ever been to the bank at 8:59?
Yep.
They're in there, right? Well, guess what? Pretend you're the bank. You got to be in there, ready to go, because when that door opens, when that 12 o'clock chime comes, the cameras are rolling and the microphone's on, and you better be ready. If just one person comes in and they come in at 12 o'clock, it's your duty to be ready for them. So if you're going to use incense in the house, or not incense, but scented oils, if you're going to bake cookies and take them in there, whatever you're going to do, be ready to go. So Carolyn had put out all the signs, we've door knocked the community, we've boosted, we've done everything we're supposed to do, and had balloons at the house to designate which house was open. And when she showed up at 11:45 to open up and get the lights on, there were, I think, 10 people there waiting at the time. So here's another note to self. You may want to make sure that you have some company, meaning don't necessarily do an open house alone. There are mortgage companies that will sit in open house with you. There are agents in this market center that will sit in open house with you. If you're a seasoned agent, a newer agent would be happy to sit in open house with you. And in this particular case, Carolyn had some newer agents that said, hey, we want to see how you do an open house. Well, that day, 100 people showed up. 100 people. It was a mob scene. In fact, I was going to go by, And I happened to be, it was Sunday afternoon, I happened to be in shorts, and I got this text from Carolyn,
Oh.
basically saying, do not come by, we don't need another car in the neighborhood. It is a zoo, it is a carnival here, and it was a carnival atmosphere. They had 100 people going through. It was a little, now, as great as that is, it was a little scary, because if she didn't have her husband and another agent there helping, it would have been a little tenuous. Oh, by the way, we had 2 houses open in the community, so she had more than one agent there, but we had 100 people come through this particular house.
Wow.
So then, that was the first day. Guess how many people we had the following Sunday?
40.
100. We had another 100 people come through. Now, part of those people are agents who are bringing their clients because you're telling them, here's when you're going to come through. What does it do for your time?
Things that go faster.
Are you on call?
No.
Are you? Do you want to be on call?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
Okay. The rest of you, do you want to be on call? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so now you get to set your schedule, right? So now if I know that I'm only going to do 3 open houses, I'm going to do it Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. What does it do for the rest of my week?
Freeze it up for
Freeze
lead
it up.
generation.
Yeah. For what?
Lead generation.
Awesome. And it gives
For
you-
what?
Lead generation.
Way to go, Tracy. Let's give a clap for
Tracy.
Tracy.
Oh, we're all awake
Oh.
now.
Try it again. Give me a clap. There you go.
There we
Tracy.
go.
We're awake.
So, we had 100 people the first day. Now, we did not shut showings off during the week. And if you're going to do it, if you're going to do a twilight, then you need to make sure that you don't let people in whenever they want. Or else you might as well not do the twilight. We found that out. The next thing is you got to be careful. Summer is easier to do a twilight. In the wintertime, we've decided it's just too dark too quickly. So we don't do it in the wintertime. But today, in the way the light is today, if you were to do a 6 o'clock open house, it's still, it's still pretty light and they can see. So those were the 2 things that we learned. What was the effect of it? Well, we got 32 offers on Monday. In fact, not only did we get 32 offers, we got offers the very next day on Monday. On the following Tuesday, we got, I don't want to say death threats, but we got threats to report us to the Florida Real Estate Commission because we weren't responding to their offer. Well, we told them how many days before the owner's going to review the offers? 10. And what did we do when we got the offer?
Put it
We
in.
submitted it to the owner. We didn't keep anything away from the owner. We said, here is an offer. Oh, by the way, did I tell you it was $20,000 over asking?
Wow.
Here's an offer that was $20,000 over asking. Mr. Seller, what would you like us to do? Now, Mr. Seller, we have told everybody that you're going to be reviewing offers in 10 days or on the following Monday. This offer came in, and I'm going to tell you, Mr. Seller, that they're being very persistent, and they're short of threatening us, our lives. They want an answer on this offer, or else they're going to walk away. Whose decision is it?
Sellers.
Sellers. If you make the decision, who's just bought the house?
You do.
You. So yes, our role is to give the seller the information. Their role is to do what? Make the decision. Yes? Make the decision.
Yes.
So the seller said, you know what? I have integrity. In my integrity, if I told the rest of the people, I'm going to be reviewing it Monday at 5, guess when we're going to be answering them? Monday at 5. We're not going to do it. So we actually went back to the folks and said, hey, thank you for your offer. We hope you're still around next week, and we understand you're going to walk away. However, that's the offer. Question?
Yes, does stating that 10-day in the MLS broker remarks justify the means in the as-is contract where they stipulate
No.
where they,
No,
so how
you're
do you?
simply just telling them. They can
Okay.
offer, anybody can offer anything at any time, and the seller can accept any offer at any time. You're just basically telling the market, here's our plan. We're sharing with you, I'm sharing with you as a professional that here is our plan. Our plan is the house is offered at $450. If your buyer is interested, give us your highest and best. We'll be reviewing the offer on the following Monday. That's pretty much it, and they can make it, they can not make
So
it.
what about the date they put in there then?
Well, if they're smart, they will put the date of the next Monday, but in any event, they can still respond. Just don't stress out over those details. When you get an offer, you give it to the seller. The seller can either accept it or say, I'm going to wait till Monday. Simple as that. You just have to make sure that you're not holding any offers away from the seller.
Perfect.
Here and here. Next.
So let me see if I understood this. If you say you're not gonna be reviewing any offers till, let's say, Friday, and someone comes in on the previous Wednesday and says, take it or leave it, and the owner says, yeah, I'll take it, and it goes pending before Friday, now you've told them you're not gonna review.
I know,
offers.
that's a quandary, isn't it?
Yeah,
So whose decision is it?
well, it's the seller's decision,
Okay,
but
so
could you
if somebody got upset with me, I would say, hey, the seller got an offer and decided to take it. It's not my decision, the seller is in control. Now, we have a conversation with the seller, and this is part of describing, we go through this program with them at the right time, is, hey, it's ultimately your decision, but you could have offers out there. Now, the difference on this one, it was $20,000 over asking. What do you do when a seller gives a verbal yes to somebody and then somebody comes in with a higher offer in writing? Whose decision is it? What should they do?
Put it in
You have to put
writing.
it in writing.
Okay, so let me start this again. You got an offer today, the seller countered it and said verbally agreed with buyer number one. Before buyer number one could get the offer in writing back adjusted to him, which he said yes to verbally, buyer number two comes in with a better offer. He gave his word to buyer number one, but buyer number two said, hey, here's my offer if you haven't signed the other deal. What should the seller do? What's the right answer?
He can deal with the second person.
Whatever the seller wants to do.
Yeah.
Okay? I've had some sellers say, I'm going to turn down that $10,000 extra because I gave this guy my word. And I've had one seller do it for $1. It was $1.5 million, and we made it $1.501. Almost it was actually as a joke. And he said, that works for me. Because our offer was there in writing, and I said, when I walk out of here, I'm taking this with me because that's the instructions I've been given by the buyer. I said, so would it help if it was $1.5 million and one? He said, yep. Because now I can say you came in over asking. And in his mind, it was his. So ultimately, the answer to your question is the seller's decision. So now, yes.
On your recommend, let's say that happens, just what you said, 20 grand over, and the seller looks at you and goes, Andrew, you're my broker, what do you recommend I do?
That's a
And then
great question.
Okay.
So if we were role play, say, well, you have two options. Option number one is you can take this offer, it's a bird in the hand. Option number two, and it doesn't guarantee they're going to buy the home, it just guarantees that they're going to go through the inspection process, correct? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so option number two is we've told everybody else out there that you're going to be reviewing the offer. So I don't know if there are any other offers out there, but while you could be getting a bird in the hand, you may be saying no to a higher offer. So which would you prefer to do? Would you prefer to go with what you said, or would you prefer to take this offer? The answer is
I take
you're
the
not.
offer.
Great. So whose decision is it? Is it my decision or your decision?
Right.
Correct. So what I want you to do, I want you to answer it with options. Here's what this means, here's what this means, here's what this means. Which do you feel more comfortable with? Whose decision is it? Whose decision is it?
Sellers.
Sellers. And this is key on everything. What's your opinion? Well, my opinion is this. Option A, this is what you want, then option A would be the way I would do it. If this is what you want, option B is the way I would do it. And if this is what you want, option C, and as many options as you can give them, which one would you prefer? Whether it's pricing, whether it's which offer to take, because when something goes wrong, whose decision is it?
The seller's.
Whose fault is it? It's always ours.
Yeah, exactly.
But at least you can say, well, hey, you chose it. I gave you the pros and cons to every option. That's your role, is to help them think it through. And their role, in fact, my script, whether it's a buyer consultation or a listing presentation, is to explain the expectations of my role in this transaction is to give you the information. Your role in the transaction is to make the decision. In fact, when it comes time to make the decision, I always remind them of our conversation, and usually I say, and you thought I had the hard part. And they look at me and they said, yes, we did. But the hard part's making the right decision, right, Alice?
Do you make them aware, because obviously it's a bidding, it's a bidding frenzy, with appraisals?
Yeah,
If
you-
they're financing.
you're walking through the whole, so I haven't gotten there yet. So
Okay,
what
okay.
we do, so now it's Monday.
Good question.
We have Monday at 5 o'clock. We've gotten 32 offers. And it's the first time in my 36-year career I got a cash offer, 100% in escrow, with no inspection clause.
Wow.
Should they take that offer? Who says yes? Did they take that offer?
No.
They didn't. They had one that was a couple $100 less, but it was a family that lived in the neighborhood who wrote a letter. And the guy cried while he was reading the letter. And so what we did was we went through the 32 offers, and we didn't print all 32, but we did a spreadsheet for the 32 offers to say, here's the asking price, here's whether it was cash or financing, here's what the inspection date was. And we did all the terms of the contract, everything else, everything, we put it on a spreadsheet. We said, now tell us what's the most important thing to you. Well, what's usually the most important thing to everyone is?
Right.
Price. Second most important thing is typically
The date.
closing date. Third most important thing is financing. Then it's inspections. And is it an as-is? So you walk through the whole thing. And, oh, by the way, with this person, it was who's buying my house. Well, the one that was doing 100% happened to be a corporation. He says, what is a corporation buying my house for? It was an investor versus a family that lived down the road that was renting, that loved the community so much that they wanted to buy in the community. So for a couple $100 difference, who got the house?
The family.
So here's the end of the story. So that's how the 10-day blitz works. And it's very effective. Now here's what I'm going to encourage you or implore you. Do not do one aspect of this if you're not going to do everything. Do not do this unless you're going to do everything, unless you're going to happen. Because you need to do everything. You need to have a seller that's willing. You need to have sellers willing to not only price it, but to do the presentation. Because you're going to promote it. There are 3 P's to selling a property. There's price, presentation, and promotion, and the seller is in control of 2 of those. So you need to get them on board to that. Your responsibility is to make sure you price it right. If you don't price it right, then this thing starts to go south pretty quickly. This particular case, the person who offered $20,000 more actually was the one that upped their offer to 100% in escrow, no inspection, closing in 2 weeks. So they didn't go away. They just threatened to go away. And the more they threaten to go away is probably the more they're not going to go away. And the house ended up selling for over $500,000.
Wow.
So did we do a good job for the seller?
Yes. So it exceeded the highest price in the neighborhood. Highest price
By over
possible. Yeah.
$25,000.
So the house was listed at 450
The appraisal.
and it sold for over 500,000.
Hang on to that question.
Yeah.
Ask it out loud.
It sold for over 500,000.
Yes. So what was that question, Alice?
But what happened to the appraisal since they
And-
were financing?
What happened to the appraisal because they were financing, which is a great question.
Great question. Good question.
So one of the things we did, they gave us proof of funds, and we saw that they had ample proof of funds, and so we added an appraisal contingency that if it appraised for $475,
They put in another
That-
25.
they would the house had to appraise for $475. Once it did, the deal went hard, and so we protected the seller from that. And in
So
essence,
you just put another layer over the qualification of the.
in essence,
the
it became a
financing.
cash deal. We added the
Yeah.
appraisal contingency, and in essence, it became the cash deal because they had, in their proof of funds, they had plenty of cash. But that was
That was like another layer over
Mhm.
qualification.
What did you say the 3 P's were? Price,
price,
presentation,
presentation, and promotion.
or promotion.
And the seller is responsible
Say goodbye,
for
man.
the first 2. Bye, Matt. Everybody say bye to Matt.
Bye,
Bye,
Matt.
Matt.
Got it.
So you would not do this if the house was not ready, or
So
if
let
it
me
was
give
like
you
kind
some
of
different examples. And these are all different price ranges. So we've done it at a $700,000-800,000 price range, and we've got 6 offers and 4 of them, 3 of them are over asking. We did it on a house where it was a potential flip, and it just didn't come. I mean, we got multiple offers on it, but we got 2 really decent. When I say decent, we got 2 really full offers when we could have gotten maybe 3 or 4 had we done it differently. But we got 2 offers, sold it in 10 days, and sold it for full price. So it just doesn't. There's not the oomph to it. If you really, I mean, it's an event. You're creating an event. So, how many of us have had either been to or had a wedding? Yes? Is there anybody that has not been to a wedding here? So we've all been there, right? So is there any question when somebody says they're getting married and they put out the invitations and they do all that stuff? Is there any question is there any question that people are going to show up?